One thing I want to say, Phil, is listen, man. You used to be an incel. What the hell are you talking about? You said you used to feel sorry for yourself. Prior to you moving to Russia and having some success, you felt sorry for yourself. You wasn't getting no bitches. You wasn't living a good life at one point. You was struggling. You was, trying to find yourself. And, you found some success. You started getting women after a while. But prior to that, you was sitting around moping, feeling sorry for yourself, fucking crying and shit when you was going through your little gothic phase, back in your early 20s. I heard you talk about this, nigga. So, it's like I'm saying, you a hypocrite, man. You know different. You was an incel, dude. It's sad. Now, maybe you did something to improve your life, and I give you props on that. But that being said, you was no different than these people who you ridiculing, at one point. Now, you may have did something to try to improve, but like I said, most of these people don't know how to use no goddamn YouTube. They don't know how to become YouTube stars and do it. They don't know how to do that, man. They don't know how to do that, man. These motherfuckers pushing shopping carts and shit at the grocery store. That's their job and shit. Fucking overweight. Fucking smelling like Cheeto dust and shit. Can't get bitches, greasy hair and shit. Like looking fucked up with acne. Like get the fuck out of here, man. And I feel sorry for them. But not all of us is blessed. I look better than probably most of these incels on here. Cause some of these motherfuckers do be like 260 pounds or something. And with acne and a neck beard or something. I look better than them motherfuckers, but at the same time, I can't get a bitch. I can't get a bitch I actually want. Nobody should have to date anyone that they don't want to. A woman shouldn't have to date a man she don't want to, and a man should. Nobody should have to date someone they're not attracted to. No one has to date no one. Like I said before, it is what it is, man. Because I know goddamn well no one will sit there and tell no woman to date a man she's not attracted to. They will try to make her be a victim and all. Oh my God, you're being sexually harassed by men you don't want and all of this stuff. And she could sit here and cry and boo-hoo, tears out of her eyes and shit. But as a dude, you gotta sit here and fuck some ugly bitch. Like, get the fuck out of here with that dumb shit. I would never do that shit. I'd rather jerk off till my fucking hand fall off. Pornography is great, man. You know how many hot chicks I get to see?
Okay, this is my last response for today, but I'm sure I will continue at least one response to every day. Hopefully other people will join in with their audios. Yes, when I was younger, I was definitely feeling sad. I couldn't get chicks. It took me a long time not a long time after high school, but it took me a while after high school age until basically once I turned 20. Things started going my way. But from 13 to 19, it was pretty much a disappointment. But one thing I never ever did, never thought, and never said was that I was an incel. Or that it was somehow because of outside forces I wasn't getting it. I understood it was on me. It was on me. And that's why I started working on myself. It took me a while. A lot of working out, studying Russian for no damn reason, which was very weird now that I think about it. When I was young, I was studying to read and write the whole language. That's so strange, but that's what I did. I did it myself. There was no one next to me helping me. It was just me. There was no chat GPT at the time. I just started doing it. The whole time when I was feeling sorry for myself, I worked on myself. I would never, and I did never say something like, it's involuntary. I understood there were girls I didn't want who may have wanted me, but that's not what I wanted. I was voluntarily saying no to certain women. Once you're voluntarily rejecting, you cannot claim involuntarily celibate because it's not involuntary, because you're voluntarily. Look, let me put it this way. If I want to be a basketball player and I'm really good, and I'm like, my dream is to be in the NBA, but I'm involuntarily out the NBA. The Chicago Bulls are, okay, we make you an offer. No, I don't want that team. I want a team on the Western Conference. But then I keep claiming I'm incel NBA, like I'm involuntarily not in the NBA. It doesn't make sense. If you are involuntarily celibate, that means you do not reject anything. Because the moment you reject, you're voluntarily saying no to sex with that person. I'm not saying you have to have sex with this person, but being involuntarily celibate means it's not because of you and it's not your choice. It's not your choice. But once you say no to having sex with another adult of the other sex, whether you like them or not, you are voluntarily saying no. You're not an incel, and neither was I. That is my main point. A lot of dudes who claim to be incels aren't incels. They're just guys who don't get what they want. Tough luck, work on yourself. Stop feeling sorry for yourself and try to make things worse. You're not an incel. You're nothing like an incel. You're just a dude who can't get what he wants, and that's life. If you want to get what you want, you have to raise your value. And until you start raising your value and stop complaining, you're probably going to stay in the same exact position. And you're right, you look much better than most people who claim incel. You're over 6 feet, you're thin, slightly muscular, you're not an ugly dude, you take care of yourself, whatnot. But you have the mentality of a fat dude who plays video games and lives with his mother at 45. You have that mentality. You're way too young and physically fit to be feeling sorry for yourself and saying, oh, I can't get it. Instead of being like, all right, let me work on this, let's get to work. You should be taking advantage of this time you have to yourself to make something of yourself. You have no kids, no wife, a lot of free time. Take advantage of it. Figure out what you're good at and take advantage of it. Figure out what you enjoy, take advantage of it. Instead of just complaining about, oh, I can't get what I want. That's called life. Welcome to it. Welcome to it. So you are not an incel. I was not an incel, and I never claimed I was an incel. I may have felt like a loser, which I was at times, but I would never try to make it seem as if it's society's fault. It's involuntary. I'm trying to have relationships, but I can't. No, I could have, but I didn't like those girls. So automatically, I'm not an incel. Soon as you're rejecting chicks, you're not an incel, genius. Using that definition, a dude could literally have 9s coming up to him all day, and he could say, no, I don't want to, I don't want you, I don't want you, I only want Beyonce. If it's not Beyonce, I'm not doing it, so I'm an incel. That's your logic. That's literally your logic. Straight up and down, a more extreme version, but that's your logic. You just, in your audio, you mentioned rejecting girls, and then you call yourself an incel. I don't want the black girl, I don't want the black. You're not an incel. And most dudes who are claiming incels aren't incels. Maybe they could be losers, like they're below the average man, they get less of what they want than an average man in comparison to the average dude or whatnot. I understand that, but you're not an incel. That's my whole point. You're not a fucking incel, and neither was I. So maybe you need to find a new term for yourself. Maybe you're just a little depressed. Maybe you're trying to find yourself. Maybe you're trying to figure yourself out. But you're not an incel. And most dudes saying they're incels aren't. Incels don't reject. Unless it's like some drug addict with AIDS. Like, I'm not talking about that. But I mean, a girl who's not attractive and you're saying no to her, you're not an incel. Just because she's not attractive, you're not an incel. That's your opportunity right there. You could have taken her out on a date, got to know her, maybe see what time if you could find her attractive beyond just the physical. You could even do that with these offers you get, but you reject them, you're not an incel. Incels don't reject. Plain and simple.